All right, parents have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions, but here are some of the questions you asked and the answers from Ellen Pruskowski again. Ellen?
So just a couple things about applying, and this will answer some of the questions that are coming up. You can apply for one program up to 5 programs. So you can apply for more than one program. You can't apply for more than 5. So you could apply for 1, 2, 4, 5, does not matter. Just as long as you don't go over 5. What will matter is your ranking. So the ranking, it's like a weighted lottery. So your ranking will give a little bit more weight to how the computer runs the lottery process. So whatever school you want and you know you want more than the rest, you need to put as number 1. If you are applying for a priority or making a priority claim, that ranking also comes in place, because if you don't put the number 1 spot for that priority, you will not get that claim. So you will rank it. Your number 1 choice is what you're going to rank number 1. Your 5th choice is what you'll rank as number 5. Priorities, like I said, only apply to that first choice. And this is one thing that we get parents confusion every year. So the priority only goes to your top choice. Our priorities, the majority of the priorities are given just during that initial application period. So sibling, professional courtesy, feeder pattern only occur during that initial application period. During the late application period, we do have a priority for military families. If they were transferred after our initial application period, they can receive a military priority. I'm going to go through the different priorities and see if you have any questions about those as well. The first one is a feeder pattern priority. This is where we have some schools, and it's usually only elementary through middle school. Fundamentals are a little bit different, but that elementary to middle school priority. So feeder pattern priority means that you might be in one program, like Bay Point Elementary School. If you put Bay Point Middle School as your number 1, there's a feeder pattern priority that's given to that. So if you put Bay Point Middle School, make it your number 1 choice, that feeder pattern priority applies, and it gives you much better chances to where, I can't say 100% guaranteed, but you're going to get into that feeder pattern school. All of those are also listed in the book or the DAP guide. Fundamentals a little bit different. If you are at any fundamental elementary school, you will have a feeder pattern priority to any of the middle school fundamental programs. So if you attend Madeira Beach, you could choose to do Madeira Beach Middle School. You could apply for Thorogood. You could apply for Clearwater Fundamental. What's important is that that fundamental program is ranked as number 1. We also get some confusion if you're applying for Thorogood and you are in a fundamental elementary school program. That feeder pattern program only applies to Thorogood Marshall's fundamental program. So let's say you're a gifted student at Pasadena Fundamental. That feeder pattern will only apply to the fundamental piece. So if you apply for Thorogood and you apply for the Center of Gifted Studies and you put it down as number 1, because you're in fundamental, you will not get that priority. So it's really important, more so with the fundamental programs, that you're making sure it's number 1. And if you have that gifted eligibility and you're in a fundamental program, that you're putting down, and you're applying for Thorogood, that you put down the fundamental program as your number 1 choice. The only programs that have a feeder pattern priority going from middle school to high school are the fundamental programs as well. So you could be at Clearwater, Madeira, or Thorogood, and you can apply for Boca Ciega's program, Osceola's, or Dunedin's fundamental program. The second priority I wanted to talk about is sibling priority. So sibling priorities are given if the sibling is at the school at the same time. So let's say you have an incoming kindergarten and you have a student who's in 5th grade. You would actually not get a sibling priority because next year that child will now be in the middle school program. So the sibling priority, they have to be together at the same program at the same school the next year. Sibling will go, so you could do it that way. It applies that we do sibling priorities for high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools. The third type of priority is professional courtesy. And this is another one that sometimes gets a little confusing. Professional courtesy is given to any full-time staff member who works at that school. So if I was applying for a magnet school because I am based out of the administrator office, I would not get a professional courtesy priority. I would have to actually work at that school that my child would be applying to. So the only way to get a professional courtesy is that staff member needs to be full-time at that program that your child would be applying to.